us every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Appreciate your patience this morning as we got set and ready to go with plenty coming up here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Very excited for the opportunity to share our conversations with you today. A lot of fantastic guests as we have had all week, and so thankful for the wonderful people that join us here inside of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. A lot of great stuff coming up where sports meets that thing called life, and I am honored and privileged to have the opportunity to have these conversations today and to just be able to share our morning together. So we're inside of these Cafe Kubal studios. You know, Cafe Kubal located for you on 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 401 South Salina Street, all in Syracuse, New York, as well as on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in their drive-through location in North Syracuse, and on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York. And make sure you get out to Cafe Kubal today. Fill your cup up right, as we do in the Wake Up Call area. Everything that we do with Wake Up Call here inside of these studios and beyond. Love heading over there for some chai and some tea, filling that up, and of course your favorite coffees and so many great things available for you right there at Cafe Kubal. So head over there today. With that being said, we have a fantastic show set up for you today, jam-packed. Starting off the day, as we always do on a Wednesday, with Dolphin Time. We'll have a special AD and DT. Happy March, everybody. Hope you had a great February. Now we're into March, and I hope this month is even better for you. March 1st, perfect timing to start off the month with a very, very big conversation on something huge coming up tomorrow. LeMoyne Giving Day is Thursday, March 2nd. For 24 hours, you can give to LeMoyne, and they have a bunch of awesome things set up. They have goals set up and whatnot. Giving Day, 24 hours of giving to LeMoyne College. You can give to the athletic department, the general fund, and where you can put the money in, and they can decide where it's going to go. They have a lot of awesome projects, and Bob and I are going to talk about it. And, of course, you can also give directly to each team. So AD and DT will be a Giving Day special. We'll also get you some information on so many different things that are going on. The women's basketball team continuing on here in the NCAA tournament here after they've performed so well in the region. So we're expecting good things there. And of course, lacrosse has started off great for men's and women's. We have so many things coming up. Men's and women's golf, men's tennis doing their thing, women's tennis coming off of their season that they had, and then continuing on here and hoping for more life. And so Jeff Lonzak doing a great job with them. And we have so many great stories. Swimming and diving continues on as Justin Byrne is heading to nationals this weekend. So a lot of wonderful things going on here. And of course, softball and baseball have had some wonderful moments to start off their season. So AD and DT will discuss that. And Giving Day at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, right around there, I'll be speaking with Matt Godard of Cafe Kubal, the owner-operator, on a new menu and something he's very excited to share with you. So I'm excited to have him on the show. Fred Kent will join me at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, the head coach of the West Genesee Wildcats boys basketball team. We were just on site, on location at the Wildcat Sports Pub doing our live broadcast going into the postseason, and now this weekend they'll play in the championship game against Liverpool. So excited to have him on the show, and then we'll get into Syracuse basketball, and we'll discuss that. For some of you, I'll be your therapist, and we'll talk about what happened in the game yesterday, where the team is at right now, and you'll hear from Symir Torrence and Justin Taylor in my one-on-one conversations with them. You're with us on Facebook.com, YouTube.com, and MixLR.com. all /Wake Up Call DT, as well as on Facebook.com /Live Now DT, and on WakeUpCallDT.com's homepage. We'll be back momentarily with our AD and DT with Bob Beretta coming up right after this fast break, speaking on LeMoyne Giving Day, which is this Thursday, March 2nd, all day long.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Cafe Kubal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafekubal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Kubal needs. Cafe Kubal, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant. What's up, everyone? Happy to be here with you for a new edition of AD and DT with Athletics Director Bob Beretta of LeMoyne College, myself, Dan Tortora, aka DT, and we are coming to you this week on a special and ever important giving day here, which is Thursday, March 2nd, 24 hours all day long to give back to LeMoyne College. Whether you are someone in the community, you're an alum, you're currently going here, whatever your connection may be, you're a parent of a student athlete, whatever it is, LeMoyne College here on the Heights appreciates any and all donations. And I can't believe that we're a year from the last Giving Day, which was a record-setting day, and over $1 million were raised. So very excited for what's to come here, and Bob is always happy to have you.
Well, my pleasure, Dan. Thanks for being here.
So I just kind of want to open it up first and foremost too, why Giving Day is such a crucial part of what the Finns do. And as we always talk about, the Dolphins swim together. We all need each other in the pool to help us along and nudge us along the way. And Giving Day is a way for us to give back and to help progress forward in an ever-changing and ever-growing landscape of collegiate athletics.
Yeah, it is. It's very important. It's critical, really, to our existence, Dan. And we talk about elevating our athletic program, but also the institution. And we very much want to move forward every single day. And these gifts that we receive on Giving Day are critical. They're critical to the athletic department. They're critical to the college. And we all have budgets, and we all have unmet budget needs. And the gifts that we receive on Giving Day through the athletic department help us meet those margin of excellence projects that we have. The gifts that we receive on Giving Day through the athletics, and we can spend it at the discretion of the athletic director towards something that benefits all of our student athletes, or perhaps a gift that's restricted to a certain sport and it allows that sport to do something uncommon, whether it be a trip, a piece of equipment, something that helps elevate, that helps reach that margin of excellence, that help them attain the next level. So we're grateful for any amount of dollars that are donated to our athletic program and to the college on Giving Day. But it's very important. We raised over $1 million as an institution last year, record setting. And our goal in our athletic department is really, we look at participation. Our goal is we want to achieve 1,000 donors, whatever the number is of in terms of the gifts. And we know that that'll take care of itself. But it's more of a common thought of participation and giving back to some degree. And that's what LeMoyne is all about. We're all about serving our community and giving back. And we hope that folks will participate and allow us in many ways to help the community. That's so big. It's so important in what we do every day.
Yeah, and you and I know this on a personal level every single day and a professional level, that you have to put in order to get out. And there's a lot of projects and different things you and I have talked about that are to be worked on here when we talk about baseball and we look at softball and what's going to be happening in the facility that houses, our lacrosse games and soccer games and whatnot. There's so many different here and now pieces that Giving Day could be such a big part of.
Without question, Dan, and we have to be a great partner to campus as well. So, meaning the athletic department, they've been a tremendous custodian of this institution and this athletic department, and we've given the green light to go forward. And we've talked about this: 3 major new renovation facility projects on tap for this summer: new baseball dugouts, a new facility at the turf field for lacrosse and soccer. That'll be a restroom and concession stand, a new press box at softball. We're doing work in the event center with our baskets in there. And then we have a big RFP that we're planning right now to take a look at the event center and try to create more space, expand it, renovate it, try to reimagine, repurpose some of the space as we continue to grow. So we need to be good partners to the school. We need to be able to help fund the cost of those projects, and we've promised that we would, and certainly Giving Day plays a large role in that. People can give directly to sports, but they can also give to the athletic department, to our capital projects plan, to any unrestricted area that allows us to have the agency to spend the money in the best way that we see makes the most sense for our student athletes. But it goes to a great cause. Certainly every dollar is greatly appreciated, and it really is an important part of our existence and our ability to reach those margin of excellence projects.
Yeah, so you can give individually, specifically to places, or you said the unrestricted fund or the general fund, where it would be at the discretion of the athletic department to really see where your needs are and to move forward from there. So, and you, in your time here, Bob, you have not let anything stay status quo. You've always been improving and expecting more. It's why we work together, because we're cut from the same cloth. So a day like this, the importance of Giving Day, because in order for your plans to be more than paper, it's days like today that you have that opportunity to go out there and really affect the change that you want, not just talk about that change.
Yeah, we talk about vision, but vision without funding is just a dream. Yeah. So we want to make those dreams a reality. We have great vision, and we talked about some of the things that we have before us. But in order to execute on some other elements of our vision, we need to be able to raise the dollars to do that. And these are unmet budget requirements, and things such as, I'd love to brand our gym. When you walk into Ted Grant Court, I want it to scream LeMoyne and Dolphins, and that takes a considerable amount of funding to do that. And we're looking at hopefully being able to proceed with that this summer. But a lot of that will be determined based on the success of our Giving Day. And there's several other projects, big and small, that we have planned here in the near future. So certainly this is an integral part of our existence and really critical in order for us to continue to move our program forward.
And it lets you, Giving Day allows you the opportunity to personally be a part of all of these wonderful things that are coming to the Heights. So very excited about that. You can be a part of what I want, which is a giant dolphin right outside of Ted Grant where we can see it. I want it lit up. I want planes to see it. So very excited about that. And we talk about giving back to these sports. Well, basketball on the women's side continues here. Looking forward to the regional. And then on the men's side, they finished up their season after winning a postseason game in the NE10. So I love to reflect on basketball, knowing that they've finished up. And then at the same time, we're into softball, we're into baseball, into lacrosse, track, men's tennis, women's tennis has some pieces going on as well. So right now at the Heights, as we see a transition from winter to spring, there's so many things going on. And in the world of women's basketball, there's more life there as well.
Yeah, there really is, Dan. We are still in the crossover. We do have a couple of teams and athletes in the winter side still competing. As you mentioned, unfortunately, both our basketball teams were eliminated on Sunday in the quarterfinal round of the NE10 tournament. Really disappointing loss for the women's team, the regular season champion, the number 1 seed, but really just ran into a bump in the road, and that happens. And I was fortunate enough this morning, I should say Monday morning, I was able to meet with both Mary Grimes and Nate Champion, and both those coaches, and we're already looking forward to the next step. For Nate, he's back on the road this week, recruiting already, trying to find a couple of key holes and voids he feels like he needs to fill in the roster with Xavier Wilson graduating, and then some other needs that he has. And Mary, our message this morning was, hey, it was disappointing. We all wanted to win a conference championship. Now let's go win a regional championship. And we'll find that out Sunday. They're going to get in, probably as a number 4 seed. Most likely we lost the opportunity to host that regional here. But we'll go on the road and learn from Sunday's setback and proceed. You know, we start 3 freshmen in our starting lineup. It was a great learning experience. Didn't play well. The entire team didn't play well. Missed opportunity, but certainly an opportunity to learn and grow and evolve. And we're going to go right now, set our sights on a regional championship. So the winter sports are starting to wind down. We have one diver that'll be participating in the NCAA's, Justin Byrne, on the men's side. So he'll still continue to compete here for a couple of more weeks. And then we're really fully engaged right now with our spring teams. You know, our baseball team went to Myrtle Beach this past weekend, went 3-1 down at the Ripken Experience. 3-game winning streak that made for a very nice ride back from South Carolina. Our softball team has had an extraordinarily difficult early season schedule. They went down to the NFCA Leadoff Classic and defeated a nationally ranked team, almost defeated a second, but they'll come back now and looking at potentially scheduling a game for the weekend. Weather might not cooperate, and then they'll resume with their schedule back spring break week. And all lacrosse teams are off to a great start. Our men's team ranked 2nd in the country, opened the year with a win over Mercy here when LeMoyne was 4 and Mercy was 2. And LeMoyne, we went down to Baltimore this past weekend and beat Catawba team, and now we're ranked 2nd in the country. And the women's team under Liz Bevel, they had on Saturday in the snow down in Dobbs Ferry, went and knocked off the number 11 team Mercy, and the women are ranked 5th in the country. So we're really fired up about those programs, and along with baseball and spring. And while we still have some unfinished business to wrap up in the winter, we are setting our sights full steam ahead right now onto the spring.
And that's the beautiful thing. When your winter sports leak into the spring, that's a great thing to have. So shout out to Justin Byrne on the diving side, heading to nationals in Indianapolis, and of course his coach Adam Zakowski of LeMoyne men's and women's swimming and diving going with him. So that's a beautiful piece. Mary Grimes and the women's basketball team in the regional, a 20-plus win season, and like we talked about, the NE10 regular season champions, and an opportunity now for more life. Nate Champion on the road, already recruiting and getting set for what's to come in 2023-24. So we come out of the winter with a lot of positives to talk about. We head into the spring with not only victories, but ranked teams, good, quality, awesome wins that are going to help you down the road as well when they're looking at their own postseason opportunities. So many great things going on here on the Heights. And so when you give back on Giving Day to these programs, you're giving to the growth, the evolution, the expansion of each of these teams. And I can tell you from talking with the coaches throughout, as well as the student athletes, there are so many things to be excited about on Apago here with the volleyball team now, and having that excitement, Yaro Zavaslan here and being the full head coach, after he had an interim role for women's soccer. Tom Bonus continues to impress with men's soccer and all the years that he spent here. So any sport that you have, Robin Wheelis was just on the show for cross country and track and field. Obviously Jeff Lonzak and everything he's done with men's and women's tennis. So there's so many amazing things that are happening on the Heights. Great coaches, great student athletes, and more than anything else, and I can say this firsthand over the last 2 years, the coaches bring in talent, but they also bring in really incredible people. So when you give back on Giving Day and all throughout the year, you're giving to people with morals, values, goodness, and we talk about where greatness meets goodness, which is everything that LeMoyne is.
Yeah, that's a great point, Dan. When I met with Nate on Monday, we talked about what he's going to be looking to fill those few gaps, and it was what dominated our conversation was we need to find the right fit for our program. We don't need to bring in 5 or 6 new members. We need to target 1, 2, maybe 3, depending on what happens with our roster. But it's imperative, it's critical that we find the right fit for us and the right people from a character standpoint, from a value standpoint, because there's a great core, there's a great nucleus. And I was reeling off our spring teams. I neglected to mention our tennis teams, and really this is the championship season for both. But just from an NCAA championship side, on the women's side, they had their traditional season in the fall.
Yeah.
But the men's team will actually compete for its league championship this spring, and just had a 23 match regular season match winning streak snapped on Sunday against UB, another Division I foe. But off to a great start under Jeff Lonzak. He does a tremendous job, and we feel like they'll be right in the hunt for an NE10 championship this spring and hopefully another regional appearance. But the one thing that I like to mention about Giving Day, Dan, is that every dollar, anyone who donates money to our program, you can rest assured that every dollar is going to directly benefit one of our student athletes in some way, shape, or form, and immediate impact. It's not impacted, it gets banked in maybe 10 years, we'll execute on something. We're at the stage right now where when we get money in and we can execute on something, we're being very aggressive when we're doing that. And I think you're seeing that in the facility space here this summer as we talked about these 3 major new facilities that are going to be put in place for us. So directly impacting our student athletes immediately.
Yeah, and I do want to also make mention of men's and women's golf as they get set to come out. So all of the sports here at LeMoyne, as Bob said, immediate impact when you donate to them directly on Giving Day or you donate to the unrestricted fund and the general fund. It gives Bob and the coaches here the opportunity to figure out where they can put it, where is best, and to continue to grow and expand and evolve. I was a part of Giving Day last year, and it was such a rewarding and amazing day. And I was sitting there watching all day long, refreshing my laptop to see history be made over and over and over again. The hopes that were had for last year were met and exceeded, and I hope to take those hopes last year that we went beyond and go beyond them again. And it's because of you that we're able to do that. So I want to thank everybody in Central and Upstate New York, around the country and the world, that consider LeMoyne to be home and want to give whatever you can, be it $1 or whatever you have, to help be a part of where LeMoyne is heading. And I can tell you from being here on the inside, there's some really beautiful things that are coming up.
Yeah, and a great point, Dan. It doesn't matter if you give $1 or $1,000 or any amount above, below, in between. The more importantly, you're part of our family, and you're directly impacting our student athletes. And we're grateful for any amount that you can afford, but know that any donation brings you into our family. And we like to think at LeMoyne as the hometown school, as we're Syracuse's hometown school, and you can be part of that family and help us progress, help us evolve. It's a really exciting future, and we hope to have some unbelievable things to talk about here in the weeks and months ahead with our spring sports and with other things that might be happening on the Heights. And it's just a phenomenal feeling to be part of all that. And we thank you and invite you in to join our family and be part of Giving Day.
Yep, so make sure you come out to the games, come out and support each and every single one of the teams, games, matches, everything throughout the year. And of course, Giving Day here, Thursday, March 2nd, all day long. Help us make history at LeMoyne. And as Bob and I always leave you with, fins up.
Fins up, Dan.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And we'll talk with you all very soon on a successful, because I know you'll do it, a very successful Giving Day. Very much appreciate the opportunity to have Bob on the show, as always, on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life, that being an all-new edition of our AD and DT segment exclusively here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with the wonderful LeMoyne College and their Dolphins. So make sure in Giving Day this Thursday, March 2nd, you give whatever you can. They're looking at getting 1,000 donors. So if it's $1, $1,000, $100, $10, whatever it can be that you can give this year, make sure you give to our local, awesome, wonderful institution of LeMoyne College right there on the Heights. With that being said, we talk about great institutions, great places, and I am honored and privileged that the exclusive multimedia marketing partnership that we have with LeMoyne is so very special, and with Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse as well. I also have the opportunity of having an exclusive studio partnership with the great people at Cafe Kubal, and it is always an honor and a privilege to support them and speak about them here on the show. Yesterday, the news came out that there is going to be a new menu coming to us, and I am ecstatic about the opportunity to share that, because supporting local, supporting Central and Upstate New York is imperative to everything I do here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and Dan Tortora Broadcast Media. It is my community and yours as well. And Matt Godard, the owner-operator of Cafe Kubal, is somebody that I've gotten to know over the years, built a great friendship with, and have this wonderful partnership and the exclusive studio partnership here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. So with that being said, I bring in someone that is a wonderful piece of our community and such a big part of it, Matt Godard. Matt, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, Dan. How are you?
I'm doing well. Happy to have you here. Happy to have you on the show. So you got some things to announce, some things to share as we start off March officially here on March 1st. There is going to be some changes to Cafe Kubal in the best of ways, and I'd love for you to share that with everybody.
Yes, Dan. Yes. Thank you so much for having me on.
Absolutely.
And I wanted to talk about just sort of the process that we've been going throughout the course of the last 3 to 4 years. As you all know, we had a little thing called the pandemic occur, and like a lot of businesses that are similar to mine, we had to make a lot of pivot moves. You know the scene on Friends there with Ross there yelling pivot or trying to move the sofa up the stairs.
Yeah.
That was around the office. That was kind of our inside joke that we had there, you know.
Yeah.
So we have done our share of pivoting, and out of sheer necessity, we've had to make so many changes with the obstacles that we faced. Everything transportable for takeout only all of a sudden, or oh yeah, now we have the cost of eggs are double or triple what they are, and the cost of everything, all the different things we're experiencing, inflation and this and that, and then there were many challenges. So our menu became something that was just a result of reacting. And now that we're after on the other side of the pandemic, I made some very deliberate decisions and creations that we're now going to have available in the cafes for our food menu. And I'm very excited. We have hired some very talented chefs in our kitchen downtown, and we're making creations and sending them out to all the other locations fresh every day. So can't wait to sell it. Today's the first day. Can't wait to see how we turn out today. Very excited.
Yeah, and I'm excited for you. And Matt, you know, you and I navigated through this. I mean, we started our partnership in pretty much the beginning of the pandemic and navigated through this together. And I appreciate you for that. I appreciate you believing in, you know, my vision and my mission and trying to weather this storm that nobody really knew how to handle. And, you know, that being within a couple years' time and then some, and seeing how you know, went about it. I do want to let everybody know who don't know about, you know, what Cafe Kubal really did during that time period. I mean, you brought in the drive-through location at the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in North Syracuse. You were constantly looking at different things you could do within the locations that you had. You were expanding and looking at different pieces and different ways to get better during the pandemic. And I have to applaud that, because some people run from the storm. You stood in the eye of it and tried to figure out what your advantages could be and how you could really attack the storm. So, you know, above anything else, I want to thank you for not only navigating it, but for being advantageous within it when a lot of people kind of just sat on their couch and held on to everything they had and hoped for the best. You went out there and you were willing to take chances, and I think that that's something that should be spoken about.
Well, thank you. Thanks for the accolades, Dan. And I've never been one to run from a challenge, and there's no doubt that the past several years have been challenging. But now we have such a good opportunity, because what happened throughout that, it compacted all of our thoughts into sort of a pressure cooker or incubator, if you will. And now that there is a lot more that we can control as a company, as a community, we can't forget that. There's nothing to hide. There's no need to hide anymore. There's nothing in the way, and we can create anything we can conceive. And it's just a matter of us believing it. And I wanted to say that and tip my hat off to my staff who have been along for the wild ride and followed my lead throughout these challenging methods that we, the challenging circumstances that we faced, and now we've got a beautiful menu. I want to just talk about we're talking about a menu.
Yeah.
We're bringing back our number one sandwich, and it's better than ever. We have the same secret sauce. We have the same recipes, the same house roasted turkey. Our number one sandwich is the upstate grinder, and it is back and better than ever. And the new form is as a pressed sandwich or a panini, and all the same local ingredients and sources that you've come to love over the years. Well, it's back, and we have some new innovations as well. We have a slow roasted, slightly spicy pulled pork. We call it kick and pull. It's a pulled pork sandwich on a ciabatta roll, and it has scallions and Swiss cheese. It is really, really good. Slow roasted in-house, our own custom recipe for the rub. That's something to die for. We have vegetarian options. We have a vegetarian panini as well, and that is carrot ribbon and house-made pickles and Swiss cheese and our own house sauce. It'll fill you up good and be healthy for you as well. So we've got a lot of exciting things happening starting today, right now. So thanks for the opportunity to talk about it, Dan. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and I selfishly am in the studio pumping my fist because the upstate grinder's back. So that has been my favorite from the beginning of working with you and saying, okay, you know what? I want to try a few different things here that I haven't had before. And the upstate, that's the one that I went with. So to bring back a fan favorite, I want to stick there for a second and let me enjoy the selfishness of how much I love this sandwich. Why was it so important for you to bring it back?
I never really wanted to stop to begin with, but my hand was forced, and you look at the numbers and you look at, the logistics and how to pull that off. And our customers spoke and we listened and we brought it back. I had no choice but to bring it back because I wanted it myself and my customers wanted it. Everybody wanted it. We just had to get together on it, and our process has completely changed in how we are sourcing and how we are prepping all of the ingredients, and it's just a better process largely. So I'm excited about that, and it's going to work so much better, so much easier, and so much faster for the customer too.
And that's
the same good tasting house roasted turkey and maple mayo and local cheddar cheese.
Here with Matt Godard, Cafe Kubal owner and operator, and speaking today on the unveiling of the new menu with some favorites coming back and some new creations coming out. You said that you're very excited about the staff of chefs that you've hired and the ability to do some special things. How important has it been for you through this process to continue? We talked about your innovation in the eye of the storm, to continue to be innovative and to not just bring back certain things that maybe went away, like the upstate, but to say, what else can we do? You've always been, like I said, a creator, and when you go through a pandemic, you get put in a situation where things were unfair for everybody, and people, like you said, you kind of had to make decisions you didn't want to make. So in having to navigate through all of this and then finally have it be open again to new creation. How excited are you about the fact that, we can go to a blank slate and start painting on it? And at the same time, did being kind of pigeonholed make you even more wanting to create something like the menu we're getting today?
It did, Dan, and that's what makes me tick. When I first started the company back in 2004, I wanted to have a mission statement so that no matter what, in tough times and easy times, I would always have the same philosophy to keep me consistent and striving and moving forward. And that's every day we become innovators, striving to delight our customers. And I've stuck true to that, I believe, with all my heart, and I will continue to. And I look at it as I'm in a situation where I have these cafes and I'm a part of the community. I'm ingrained in it. I'm a local brand. I have a responsibility to deliver value to my customers. Every single day that I wake up and get out of bed, I feel as a blessing and opportunity, in a way that I can express my gratitude is by continuously innovating and trying to provide something that is enjoyable and innovative and valuable to the customers.
Yeah, and I love it. I love this passion and this drive that you have, and I love the fact that it has made you, throughout all these last couple of years, people have reacted in all different ways, and your reaction is to say, hey, I can do this now. I'm going to do this now, chomping at the bit to get out there and do it. What did you learn about yourself through these last couple of years as a business owner, but not just that, but as a person? Because it's challenged us all of us in some way. How have the last couple of years challenged you individually, and how do you come out of it? And when you see Matt Godard today, why are you better today?
Thanks for putting me on the spot there, Dan. I mean, I have a pretty strict regimen of content and learning, and that I digest. I'm very selective with what I put into my mind, and I think that serves me well. I surround myself with some great people like yourself, like my family, like my colleagues, like so many of my employees. So I really can't take all the credit for where we are and what we have gotten to and all of that. It's good fortune, it's good luck, it's manifestation, whatever you want to call it. But at the end of the day, I'm still here, and I'm thankful.
Final note here to someone who has never stepped inside a Cafe Kubal. Why should they come in today? There's locations all throughout central and upstate New York. Why do they come in today?
Well, we are more than just a cup of coffee, more than just a transaction. We're not trying to just make a sale. We're not trying to just take your money. Our goal is to provide an experience that is a moment in time, even if it's very brief, where you can find your peace, find your break, find your coffee break, your truth, whatever you want to call it, your brief conversation, your coffee meeting, your sales meeting, your business meeting, your meeting with a friend, whatever it is. We facilitate community as the third place in the city, not the place where you work or the place that's at home, but the place that is out. And we love that role. Also, coffee's pretty good too. We roast it fresh every day locally and source ethically, and constantly look for new great coffee. And same with our food, as we've been talking about, we're always looking to provide something that is exceptional and interesting and worth telling your friends about once you experience it for yourself.
Yeah, I love it. And I describe it as Cafe Kubal is the parent and all the locations are the kids. Because Cafe Kubal, whatever location you go to, you're going to get that great coffee, the great food that we're talking about that's being unveiled today. You're going to have that. But each of the locations, 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 401 South Salina Street, all in Syracuse, then at the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in the drive-through location of North Syracuse, and on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius. Each of the kids are different. They have different personalities. Going to a Cafe Kubal in Eastwood and going to the one in Manlius, you're getting a totally different personality, a different layout, and that's what I love about it, Matt, is that not only have you created such a wonderful local brand here in Central and Upstate New York in Cafe Kubal and beyond, but because there is a parent and there are these children that all belong to the same family but have their own personality, I think that makes it fun because whichever one you go to, you're getting a different experience every time.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. It's a good compliment. I really enjoy designing cafes and not all the same cookie cutter type look, but to sort of fit in with the community and be something that blends in and goes along with what's already there.
Yeah.
Out of respect.
Every move has a purpose. Matt Godard, owner-operator of Cafe Kubal, unveiling to you today, Wednesday, March 1st, 2023, that there is some of your favorites are coming back, new things are coming in, a great menu for Cafe Kubal available at all of their locations. Head out there today. Support local, support our community of Central and Upstate New York. As I told you, a cup of coffee goes a long way. And as Matt said, this isn't just a transactional relationship. They're looking to build a connection to you, your family, your business, the community. And Matt, as always, thank you for all you do. And I appreciate so much that you took some time today to share this with the community.
Of course, Dan. I appreciate you.
All right, I look forward to talking with you soon. I won't talk with you about Syracuse sports right now because I know you're going to get heated. So,
thanks, Dan. Appreciate it. I'll talk to you later.
All right, take care. That coming from Matt Godard here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. He's a passionate fan, and so are you. I know you are. That's why we're going to talk about it in hour number 2. Promise, Scouts Honor, we're going to discuss, but not before we talk about what's also coming up here this weekend. Very ecstatic about this. West Genesee, Liverpool playing in the Section 3 Class AA championship game. Liverpool, West Genny going to be tipping off Sunday, March 5th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time at OCC. So you got to make sure you get yourself out to that game for all of the sections and all of the classes. I am so ecstatic and so happy for everybody that got to participate, as well as all the teams that have advanced to their championship games respectively, including Liverpool against West Genesee. 2 programs I know very well, 2 programs I'm very close with, and Fred Kent is going to join me after this fast break from the West Genesee Wildcats boys basketball team. Their head coach ahead of the game coming up this weekend, championship time for high school basketball in Syracuse. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville beats. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
It would be a pity if you don't shop at Honda City.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also I think we recognized that, we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career. It's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, hanging out with you where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here. Cafe Kubal located for you on 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 401 South Salina Street, all in Syracuse, New York, the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in their drive-through location of North Syracuse, and on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York. We appreciate them so very much as our exclusive partner here inside of our Wake Up Call studios. With that being said, I am honored and privileged inside of MonPosPopcorn.com's What's Poppin' to continue on here in our conversations we have for you this morning. This week has been jam-packed of greatness, and we are not going to slow down now as I have the opportunity to welcome back to the show Mr. Fred Kent. And Fred and I were sitting together with his team at the Wildcat Sports Pub on 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York, right over the hill from West Genesee. We were sitting there just a little bit ago talking about going into the postseason. Now, this morning, we're talking about them doing everything that they needed to do to get to this championship game and have another shot. Section 3 Class AA Championship, West Genesee, Liverpool, happening this Sunday, March 5th, and you'll be able to see that game at OCC at 7 p.m. With that being said, West Genesee Wildcats boys basketball head coach Fred Kent is back with me on the broadcast. Mr. Kent, how are we doing?
Good, Dan. How are you?
I'm doing well. I mean, I guess you're doing okay, right? So
yeah, I'm doing okay. I'm doing well.
So bring me into this. We look back on our conversation that we had just a little bit ago, and your team comes into this as the number 2 seed, so you advance to the next round. Went up against Baldwinsville in that game. So let's start there in the Beeville game. Just what your takeaways were from a lower scoring game and just what you saw there and how you felt your team was able to do what needs to be done in order to advance to the next round coming from that game against the Baldwinsville Bees.
Baldwinsville game was really tough. It was a very slow, low possession game. And we didn't play our best, especially in the first half, and you have to give credit to Beeville for that. But I thought we played very good defense, and we strung together some offensive plays, and fortunately got out of there with a win. But it was a quick turnaround because that was a Thursday, and we knew we had to play Saturday, so that was tough.
And when you went into that Saturday game and faced off against Nottingham and were able to get that game by 15, 65, or pardon me, by 9, 65 to 56, in that matchup, after what you learned from Beeville, what was the message in that quick turnaround for the guys and the focus at that point to go into that Nottingham game? What were you keying in on at that point?
Well, Nottingham, Coach Vines, he runs a ton of sets, a ton of plays. So it was when, we went against Beeville, it was go home, watch as much film and clip games as much as possible. And then 2 hours of practice, like just getting prepared on what we need to do defensively and how to stop their guys. And they have some tremendously talented players. So just the turn, it was 12 hours later, we're preparing. And then the next day we got a game. So it was kind of hectic. I was really, really proud of the guys, how they responded. And I thought we played very well against Nottingham. I mean, to beat them, you have to play well.
And Fred, when you have these quick turnarounds and you've kind of obviously over time become accustomed to these moments, how do you adjust your coaching? And do you feel like you've gotten to a place where after all these years, there's kind of a set plan of saying, okay, in these type of tight situations, this is what I'm going to do? I know every team's different, so there's different places to focus on, but do you have a regimen or a way to go about it that allows you to kind of breathe a little bit in such a quick turnaround?
There wasn't much breathing, but we do have a routine, and we stuck to our routine. We didn't. There wasn't much breathing, but we do have. We watched a little bit more film, maybe, and more film means more pizza for the guys, so they're okay with that. So, we got through the film sessions, and really, because we needed to recover our bodies a little bit, it was a lot of talk and a lot of walkthrough. And that same day, we brought the kids in and kind of walked through the plays again. And again, just very proud of our guys, how they responded to a short period of time.
And you and I had spoken about how this was what people were thinking was going to potentially be the championship, Liverpool against West Genesee. Knowing that you have this game coming up this weekend, Sunday, March 5th, once again at 7 p.m. at OCC. Your take on Liverpool, what you've learned from them and going into this. I'm not asking you to give me any scheming, Coach, because I know that I can't ask that question, but I am asking to get your thoughts on the matchup.
Well, we've talked enough that I wouldn't
yeah, I know.
Wouldn't reveal much. See.
Yeah.
We've been talking together for a while.
Yeah.
Honestly, Liverpool is just very good, tremendous athletes. Our last game against them, we had a good chance to win and didn't make the plays down the stretch. And I think what Liverpool does so well is they extend possessions. Last time we played them, we had 18 defensive rebounds. They had 18 offensive rebounds. So that's something that we're paying a lot of attention to. You can't get half of Liverpool's miss or rebound half of Liverpool's missed shots and expect to win. So we have to do a little bit better job of getting rebounds and being physical and not giving them extra possessions, either it be offensive rebounds or turnovers.
And when we look at, speaking here with Fred Kent, the head coach of the West Genesee Wildcats, a boys basketball team heading toward the Section 3 Class AA championship, when you reflect back on this season, you and I have spoken about different things that about this season and about this team. But as you get set for the championship game, in the here and now, in these couple games that they played postseason-wise, what have the guys shown you most recently that maybe was something that you were hoping to see earlier on in the season that you're finally seeing right now? As we look at the quarterfinal and the semifinal games, what about them has either stayed the same or what is kind of maybe coming through now that you hoped would finally come through?
It's a good group of kids, and I was really happy the way we started the season. I couldn't believe how well we were playing earlier in the year. It was just clicking on all cylinders. Unfortunately, we had a little rough patch, and then we hit the injury bug and sickness bug. So there's a lot of positive energy right now because we feel we're playing better and we have everybody back healthy. Yeah. So that combination is a good place for us mentally. So I really like where we're at mentally now.
For you and West Genesee, what is it about this school beyond basketball that you have just come to love because you've been a leader here? You've brought something to West Genny that they've never had before, which is a state title and a banner that will hang there forever. I was with you in those moments. I will always cherish that. But, you know, you're greedy, Fred. You want more. I understand. And so with that being said, what is it about West Genesee that keeps you coming back?
The community support. I mean, that state run was a great memory and something that, I was so focused on the preparation that, I've missed a lot of the fun part, and I would sure love to feel that again. And more importantly, I want my players to experience that celebration, jubilation of winning and them having that moment. I feel they deserve it. And, as a coach, you just want to do as much as you can to prepare those guys so that they can have that moment of winning a sectional championship. So I feel our guys deserve it, and I want it more for them than anybody or anything.
Yeah, when you reflect back on that championship, and then we look at the team's run to the sectional championship that's coming up this weekend, fair question, since you have family lineage from that team to this team, are you looking to clone any more McLean's, Amikas, or whatever else you have?
McLean's, Amikas, Zachary's, right?
Yeah.
I would love to if our science department could help out in that. Great families and really good kids and great basketball players. So yeah, I'm all for it.
And a final note here: what's been your favorite part of this run? I know it's not done yet, and I know the biggest opportunity and challenge is ahead of you. But what has been your favorite piece of this season, specifically from your coach's chair?
It's just fun to have a team and start to come together. The Nottingham game is very special. Because you could feel the unity, you could feel the building, like as the possessions got bigger and we had a little success, just you could feel the momentum, and it was those moments are really special where someone makes a big play and it was done not just by one person but a collective group, and the whole group fell a part of it, and guys that aren't in the game are supporting, and that's what it's all about. So I love that.
Yeah, coming from Fred Kent, the head coach, West Genesee Wildcats boys basketball team, as they get set for the championship game for Section 3 Class AA this weekend. Fred, as always, I appreciate, be it at the Wildcat, be it on the phone or in person, always thank you for the time that you take and all this time over the years that you have given me. I really love chronicling your teams and keeping in touch with you, and I'm happy that you continue to have success because people like you deserve it.
Oh, thanks, Dan. It's really nice, and I always enjoy talking to you. So I appreciate your support.
Well, listen, start to figure out how you can control the snowstorms, and you and I will talk after that, okay?
Okay. I just got to keep Liverpool off the boards first. Once we figure that out, maybe we'll tackle snowstorms.
Sounds good. I look forward to talking with you soon, Coach.
All right, thanks, Dan. Appreciate it.
Take care. Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
See you. That coming from Fred Kent here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, where sports truly meets that thing called life. So what an incredible moment we're going to have this weekend with so many schools. And, speaking on this game specifically, being close with Ryan Blackwell and the Liverpool team, being close with Fred Kent and the West Genesee team, this is going to be a really, really great game. And I hope that you come out and see it. I hope that you bring yourself to OCC this Sunday, March 5th. First and foremost, OCC is a fantastic place, and there's so many great things about Onondaga Community College that I feel like people need to come to see, to believe, and really be around it, Or you could take my word for it. I've been up there enough with enough different sports and just really have loved it, And my mom has a connection to OCC. Extended family, and of course, so many great coaches and great games that have been played there. Fred knows what it's like to win there, and now, he has an opportunity to go back, and Ryan Blackwell has an opportunity to go as well. I mean, these two teams, the history that they have, state champions back-to-back, right? Liverpool won a sectional championship, went on to states, won that, Then West Genesee won a sectional championship, went on to states and won that. So here we are with two teams that have such great history in our community, and fantastic people running the program, and wonderful ADs and just wonderful schools. So this is going to be the game to come out and see, and I hope that you come out and see it this Sunday, March 5th at 7 p.m. Would love to see you out there. So with that being said, we're going to take a step aside for a fast break. When we come back, we're going to stay with basketball. We're going to talk about those Syracuse Orange. I hope you're ready to chat. Would love to hear what you have to say. And here we go. So we're going to do that right after this fast break on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. And listen, this is a team that has had some moments, and I didn't expect a 4-game losing streak this late in the season. So, they have the opportunity to bounce back. Senior night is coming up. We'll discuss all of that. And coming up with me after this fast break, you'll hear my one-on-one conversations with Justin Taylor and Symir Torrence after the loss to Georgia Tech at home. That's all coming up here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios right after this. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout Central and Upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox. This is
What's
a
in your
special
lunchbox?
message from 317 at Montgomery restaurant owner Joel Carpenter. Open Tuesday through Saturday for your dining pleasure on 317 Montgomery Street in Syracuse, New York.
We wanted to be a part of the resurgence of Syracuse. We saw a lot of money being put into bringing people back downtown and thought that, we'd like to be a part of that. I love putting together a good dish where people see it first, they fall in love with it, and then it tastes just as good as it looks. We want to provide the best food in Syracuse that we possibly can, and we want you to leave here talking to your family, your friends about what you had to eat first and foremost, but also our service, and to walk out feeling like you're part of our family. I work out in the front of the house a lot, and I love walking to every single table, asking them how everything is, and people looking at me and smiling and saying, this is the most amazing short rib I've ever had. This is the most amazing filet I've ever had. And Donna is great. Sarah's amazing. Thank you for coming over and talking to us. And them just being truly happy for the experience that they've gotten.
317 at Montgomery Restaurant, part of the fabric of downtown Syracuse, located on 317 Montgomery Street in Syracuse, New York. Open Tuesday through Saturday for a unique and memorable dining experience. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, hanging out with you where sports truly meets that thing called life. Hope you're having yourselves a fantastic morning this morning, making the most of it. I really hope that you are just enjoying March, right? We're in it. It's a new month. It's a new beginning. It's a new opportunity. So if things were great, I hope they get better. If things were, I don't know, Dan. Well, then I hope they get better. Either way, I hope things get better. If they're great, let's keep them great. If they weren't that great, then let's make them better. But remember something, on those not great days, at least you were up to have them. I know it's crazy to some people to say, Dan, why would you be happy to not have a great day? Because it's better being alive and having a day where you're like, some things happen, than to not be alive. So make sure that you celebrate your days and be good to each other. Be kind, right? And don't let somebody else ever have control of your emotions. I'll tell you that much. With that being said, I know people are very emotional about this Syracuse basketball team. And I understand it, right? I totally get it. Totally understand it. YouTube.com, Facebook.com, and MixLR.com, all /WakeUpCallDT. It's time for us to get in to my conversations on our live feeds worldwide, as well as on Facebook.com /LiveNowDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.com's homepage for you to hear from my conversations with Justin Taylor, as well as Symir Torrence, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We're going to start things off here, and of course, you can weigh in on our feeds, any one of these, YouTube.com, Facebook.com, or MixLR.com, all /WakeUpCallDT. Weigh in on the feed. Let me know what you're thinking about Syracuse basketball, and we'll be happy to speak on some of those thoughts. And as always, be respectful and justify your opinion. No personal attacks of any players or coaches, or anybody for that matter. So let's be good humans, and let's have the conversation. And speaking of having the conversation, here's Justin Taylor in our one-on-one after the game.
4 games in a row, just what you're taking away from this tough stretch.
Yeah, obviously this isn't what we expected or what we planned on happening, but it's basketball. You're gonna have ups and downs. So it's important for us during this stretch like this just to stick together. Be there for each other. When we're down like this, and we realize that we still have games to go, and just gotta try and do our best to finish out strong at this point. So.
Down 9 at halftime, and then in 3 minutes and 50 seconds, it became 23. Is there a loss of confidence at some point in the second half when you go down like that?
Yeah, it's tough. We made a kind of a run at the end of the first half, so we were coming into the locker room, feeling pretty good, and then obviously make their run, which hurts, and then it's kind of just we can't dig ourselves out of that hole, so it's just tough. But like I said, just got to stick together, through this. So.
What would you put your finger on, if you can, as to why there's been some adversity right now?
I don't know if it's just one thing. I think it's a mix of things. Obviously our defense is That kind of speaks for itself. We need to be better on that end. Just got to move better, close out on shooters. Obviously we went to man today, and we still kind of struggle. We just got to be better on defense, and then just be better on offense as far as just moving the ball, running our sets, being more not so stagnant, just moving it. So yeah.
Was there anything different tonight that Georgia Tech was doing differently in terms of?
So that coming here from Justin Taylor in our conversation after the game and his take on what's going on. The freshman guard here, and Justin finished up the game for the Syracuse Orange, played in a little over 18 minutes and ended the game with 2 points, 2 fouls, and 2 rebounds, both defensive in the matchup, and being a part of that new look starting lineup that sees Joe Girard as well as Justin Taylor, Judah Mintz, Jesse Edwards, and Benny Williams back in the starting lineup. Coming off the bench last night, we saw Malik Brown and Cy Torrance, as well as Quadir Copeland, and then toward the end of the game with 57 seconds left to go, we got to see Jim Boeheim put out the walk-ons, and thanks to the walk-ons, Syracuse didn't have their worst loss of the season as far as margin of defeat. They could have lost by 26, but thanks to Nico Ruffin and Anthony Clayton, they lost by 20, which ties their loss to Duke, 75-55. This game, 96-76. So, thank the walk-ons for taking some of that bleeding away toward the end of the game and giving fans something to be excited about, as Nico Ruffin had a layup inside and Anthony Clayton hit 2 free throws. Coming up next is my conversation with Cy Torrance. Cy and I had an opportunity to speak after this game, and he is one of the veterans on the team who will be celebrating senior night. So this is what he had to say as he is going to, and we talk about senior night as well, as this is, an important night to him personally, to Jesse Edwards, to John Boljac, as well as to Joe Girard III. So this is what Cy had to say when we had an opportunity to speak with one another after the game.
Being one of the veterans on this team, 4-game losing streak, can you put your finger on anything specifically?
We're not playing the zone the right way. Obviously, you can see that just because of the losses. We're not getting out to the shooters. It's becoming harder because teams are taking more threes than usual. And that's just a problem on us. I told Donna, it's not impossible. It doesn't mean we can't do it. We just got to put our minds to it. But once the team consistently hits and knocks down a lot of threes, especially in the first half, they had over 10 threes in the first half. It gets frustrating. It gets hard at times, but like I said, it's not impossible. We just got to put our minds to it.
When you have teams shooting somewhere around 50%, close to 50%, just what you could say about the frustration of that. Some of these shots are coming well outside of the 3 points.
Yeah. A lot of teams just around college are taking more threes, especially when they see zone. So we just got to be able to guard it, and we weren't today.
For you, do you feel like at this point you would like to maybe see a shifting in a man-to-man, or just to mix it up, even to light a spark for the team?
To be honest, I'm confident in whatever we play, whatever coach puts us in. I'm confident that we can get it done. Tonight just wasn't our night.
What can you say to some of the young guys on this team? Jim was asked in the press conference what he would say to the young guys, or what he wanted the young guys to feel, and he said, I think they should be embarrassed. How do you kind of lift them up from here?
Tell them not keep their head down, just keep going. Rough times happen, that doesn't mean it's going to keep happening. Just a little bit of rain, we just got to get through it. We still got another season to come. I think people forget about that. Doesn't matter right now. We're on the loser streak, but we got another game, our senior night, so try to get that dub and then new season.
When you think about senior night, despite the 4-game losing streak, what do you reflect upon knowing the veteran group that's here and you being a part of that?
Yeah, I'm just not trying to lose on the senior night. personally for me, and especially for Joe and Jesse and Bull, just because they've been here all 4 years or 5, whatever the case may be. Kind of want to do it for them. And I know our freshmen, our other teammates want to do it for us and to leave us out on a good note on our home court.
It's easy to focus on the negative. You're not that kind of guy. So what positives do you take moving forward into the senior night game?
It took us a long time to get here. Kind of you just got to go back and reminisce like all the hard work that we put in just to get to this stage, the D1 stage. And I never let that go, even when I do have a bad day or my other teammates have a bad day at the same time. I'm going to keep lifting up guys no matter what, and we're just going to try to get this W on Saturday.
On the worst days, do you still have that moment on the floor saying that you fought to be D1 and to be able to come back here and do it in front of your community? I mean, does that still hit you in a positive way even through adversity like this? Do you still feel that on the court?
Yeah, for sure. I'm a kid from Syracuse. Nobody expected me to be in this situation, and especially at this stage. So that's why I just keep fighting. Because at the end of the day, I know people are going to doubt, and I just do it for the people that love me, people that are at my games every day, and my teammates. I do it for them because they've been through the same thing I've been through or worse or whatever the case may be. But I'm going to go out there every day and give it my all.
People seem to have a short memory, but last season in the ACC tournament, you guys made some splashes there, and you had arguably some of your best games. Just, I know there's one more game with senior night, but are you looking forward to that new season?
Yeah, for sure. Just because it's 0-0, like I said, at the end of the day, I still feel this way. No team in the country can beat us when we're playing our best basketball, especially when we're playing together and having fun. I think we can get back to that. It's just going to take some time, and the time is coming quick, so we just got to get it down.
That coming from Symir Torrence, so they gotta figure it out quick, right? That time is coming quick, and it's true. I mean, Syracuse is in a place right now where they'll have the opportunity to play one more game before heading off to Greensboro, and I'll be out there with them and the other 14 schools. And covering the ACC over the years has been an honor and a privilege. It's been a decade for me. Yeah, 2013, 2023. So I can't even believe that. It's been a decade for me that I've done this, covering the ACC. It's been almost 20 years that I've been broadcasting, but because I started right in college. It's been really difficult to see this team have this lull, right? 4 games in a row, losing big in these games, in some of these games, and just, I mean, really a bunch of these games. And it's the streak has been, it's been awful. It's been awful for Syracuse. It's been awful for the fans. And at the end of the day, we're looking at a Syracuse men's basketball team that I said just a few games ago, with 6 games to play, could go from the 8 seed to the 6 seed in the ACC tournament. And for people saying, why are you talking about it so early? Because it's important. Simply, it's important. With 6 games to go, Syracuse had control of where they were going to be. Now, a little bit of help, yeah, but if they had ran the table, they'd put themselves in a good place, right? They were tied with Wake Forest when they were 8. Wake Forest is 7. So they were tied there with them. And beyond that, they had Duke in front of them. And obviously Duke has continued to win, but Syracuse could play themselves, and they had that game against Duke, which would have been imperative. They could put themselves at 6 or 7. Now they have just fallen down the line. And they've fallen down in such a way that has been, it's almost like they're trying to play on day one. And I know that they're not, and I know the guys are working hard. It's just the way it looks on paper. Was you could have been a 6, then you've fallen to a 9, now you could be a 10. So it's been a rough go. And with 6 games to go, it was all in front of them. It was the difference between playing at noon or playing at 9:30, almost 10 o'clock. Because I know I've been at those games. Those games typically don't happen on time. And you hope that they do, but they don't happen on time. And we're there all day. I mean, I'm there for more than half a day. At noon to midnight, probably, but longer because the first game is at noon. So you're there for kind of like 13 hours potentially. And Syracuse being in that 8-9 matchup, then you have to play the 1, right? And that could, the way things have been going, it's like it could be Pitt, it could be Miami, it could be Virginia. Right now it's Pitt. Pitt has played Syracuse twice this season, beaten them both times. They beat them the majority of the game in the Dome, and Syracuse came back and lost by 2 in a game that I thought was Pittsburgh's. You know what I mean? And as close as it got, it just felt like that game always belonged to Pittsburgh because they commanded it. And then when they played Pittsburgh recently here on the road at the Pete, it was an awful game for Syracuse. Pittsburgh got better, Syracuse did not. And so if Syracuse, being in that 8-9 matchup, has to face Pitt again, that's not a good play. And to play at noon, right? People are working, people aren't coming to the game, maybe their flights aren't in yet. So, I mean, it's just bad all around when it comes to being able to, you want to play as a 6 seed because you're going to get a better matchup, right? You're going to get teams that are toward the bottom of the barrel. But now for Syracuse, is that even better? Could it even be better? Because at the time where Syracuse could have been the 6th seed, and I was looking at it, it would have been Florida State, Georgia Tech. Well, Florida State just beat Miami, and Georgia Tech just beat Syracuse by 20 in the Dome. So would that have even been a better matchup? Is there a good matchup for Syracuse right now, the way that they're playing? And that's the rough part. You got to keep your head held high, though. Now, Greg said, countless factors leading to total lack of winning performance and play over the years during ACC tenure, especially highlighted over these last 2 horrendously bad years. And, Nick said, through the ups and downs, orange for life. And I appreciate that. And I know Syracuse does. Some people have labeled me whatever they've labeled me, voice of positivity, and you try to be, right? Like look at Dan here trying to find the silver lining. Well, isn't that what life is about? Right? It's like you take a look at this, but here's the thing. Here's the difference between me and maybe somebody else. When you connect with the people that you interview and you don't just interview them, there's more to that relationship. There's more to that connection. If you're there just for the story, then you don't care if they win or lose. You're not paying attention. It doesn't matter to you, right? But when you know the people, like in this example, when you know this team and you're around this team and you get to know these guys, and Benny, Jesse, Judah, Justin, Joe Girard, Malik, Cy, Quadir have all been on the show. Everybody that played yesterday with a scholarship has been on the show. Every single one of them. So when you get to know them and you care about them and you build relationships with them and you see them before a game, after a game, whatever it may be, these guys are not trying to lose. They're not going out there yesterday saying, who cares? We lost the game. Let's do nothing. And when you get to know over the years like I have and build personal relationships with Adrian Autry, Jerry McNamara, Alan Griffin, Jim Boeheim, when you have those bonds where you actually care about the people behind the record, you see things differently. It's a tough game. It's a tough game to play. Somebody has to come out with a win. Somebody's going to come out with a loss. This has been a tough season. Last year was a tough season. This season, I said, and you can go back and check the tape, I said going into this season, and Nick, I know you made a point, so we'll talk about it in a second. Going into this season, I had people ask me, said, how good Syracuse going to be? People ask me that every year. And I appreciate those questions because it means that you value my opinion. And in valuing my opinion, it makes me feel like I've done something right over the years to build that rapport with you that you want to know. And I thank you for that. And I'm very grateful that you would ask me a simple question like, how's the team going to do? With that being said, this team has so many new faces. 6 freshmen, 1 transfer, and Munir Hima. When I was asked the question at the beginning of the season, before they played a game, how is this team going to do? I said, I don't think that anybody can adequately answer this question without some BS, because they don't know. They don't know. Peter Carey, we saw him in the beginning of the year. That was it, right? The big man. We've seen Malik Brown. We've seen Quadir Copeland. We've seen Judah Mintz. We've seen Justin Taylor. We've seen some Munir Hima. This team is new. They're figuring it out. They're trying to find their way. And the way I felt at the beginning of the season when people said, what's the record going to be? How's this team going to be? I said, there's no way to gauge that when more than half the team is new. There's no way to gauge that where more than half the team has not played college basketball on this team at Syracuse. And 6 of those 7 have never played college basketball before, besides Munir Hima. So when you're taking guys that have never played the collegiate game before, and I'm not saying that basketball isn't similar in the skills and drills and making, this is a 3-point shot, that's a free throw. I'm not saying that. I'm not talking the brass tacks of it. I'm saying the collegiate game is different. It's elevated, right? So in that elevated game, they have never played it before. 7 of them were coming onto a team that never had them on their team before collegiately. You got new faces, never playing together before, the majority of them never playing a college game. How can I tell you, or anybody tell you with a straight face and mean it, what this team was going to do record-wise? And toward the end of the season, they're still growing because it's a group of freshmen. And your response to me will be, well, Dan, why is Duke successful with it? Why is Kentucky successful with it? Maybe it's the way that John Calipari coaches. Maybe it's the way that Coach K coached. Maybe it's the fact that they play different defenses. Maybe it's the fact that maybe they simplified some things more. Maybe it's the fact that the athletes that they got were better prepared to make the jump, which isn't to take anything away from Syracuse. Just maybe some of those athletes over time were in a better place. More prepared, more ready, for whatever reason. Be it that they had the right mentorship, maybe they were in the right type of prep school program, maybe the school that they were at had the right coach, they knew the right things, that had the experience, maybe they got to work out with some NBA guys. Kentucky did it. Duke did it to an extent. But Syracuse struggles. And Jim Boeheim, more often than not, over these last couple decades, is not playing a freshman if he doesn't have to. Remember when Michael Carter-Williams sat there? Remember when Deion Waiters sat there? Remember when Tyler Ennis sat? Remember when some guys had to sit and watch and wait? But he couldn't do it on this year's team because you didn't have a lot of guys coming back. So, in that respect, he has to play his freshmen. He had to load up in the recruiting class for incoming 2022-23. And Malik Brown has been good around the rim and done some awesome things. He's young. He's a freshman. But he's done some good things. He's been smart to get under the basket when the ball goes up, to get on the other side and rebound it and put it back up. Malik has been smart in the cleanup game. Benny Williams' shot got better. A lot better, especially over these last few games. Jesse Edwards has been up and down, but he's had double-doubles or close to it for a ton of games this season. Judah Mintz has proven that he's elusive. He can get a shot off. Very rarely is he not going to get a shot off. He finds a way to create for himself, and he's very acrobatic. Justin Taylor is going to be one of Syracuse's best shooters on their next couple of years of their team as he grows. Joe Girard can light it up, and he does what a lot of guys haven't done at Syracuse, which is not only be a three-point shooter, but be able to create his own shot when a man is guarding him face on. Cy Torrence has proven that he can hit some of those shots, and he can also deliver create, and be there. Remember last year's ACC tournament at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn? Cy had arguably his 2 best games at Syracuse ever. Quadir Copeland has proven that he can do some good things. And a point guard of the future, or shooting guard, or combo guard, is not out of question that he's going to have weight on Syracuse's backcourt in the not-too-distant future. So, there's a lot of good to build off of. And what I said at the beginning of the season is what I say right now. This is a young team full of new faces that have never played together before, with many of them having never played the college game. It was impossible to decide what this team was going to look like. And I will tell you this. In my book of 19 plus years as a broadcaster and a writer, as a journalist, and as someone who's watched basketball pretty much my entire life and played it, a team with this much newness ending the season with a winning record, if I was their head coach, I would say, guys, we gave some away. We lost ourselves in some of these games. There were moments where I don't know if we were fully in it and committed to it. But what I will tell you, gentlemen, is that looking at this season, knowing how many of you are new to our team and how we have consistently tried to figure out what would work, and we've been trying to find the right lineups, still to this day, to be as young as you are, as new as you are to the collegiate game, we're ending the season on a winning record. And that is a hell of a thing to build upon. A team with this much new having a winning record at the end of the season, that is something to hang your hat on. I know Syracuse fans see 25 wins, Sweet 16. I told you. I get it. Jim Boeheim is the prisoner of his own accomplishment. I get that. But let's be real. A team with 7 new faces, losing their top scorer, and over the last couple of years, losing their future at their front court and their back court, with Quincy Guerrier and Kadari Richmond and others leaving, for this team to have a winning record at the end of the season, that is something that can only catapult them higher next season. That's my positive takeaway. Nick said, we brought back 4 players, 2 who didn't play a lot, in Symir and Benny. And then Joe and Jesse this season was based on the play of Joe and Jesse being all ACC caliber players and bringing along basically 9 new guys. You know, and Nick, I mean, going off the point, yeah, the majority of the team was new. Joe, who is a shooting guard, did not play shooting guard for 3 years. When they finally let him play shooting guard, he had some of his good moments, and I think Syracuse had their 2 best games of last season when they moved Joe to shooting guard in the ACC tournament. I thought those were the 2 best games that they had all last year. So he was playing out of position, remember that. Jesse has continued to get better, and I know that his expectations are high. It's funny how going into last year, there were like no expectations of Jesse. And you didn't get that feeling like people were like, okay, he's got to be a double-double guy. He's got da-da-da-da. And now the expectations are higher. Why? Because he's better. Because he showed you he could do more. I believed in Jesse more than 2 years ago. Everybody else jumped on the bandwagon probably this year, maybe last year a bit. But you have high expectations of Jesse because Jesse's commanded that he's better than that. And Joe Girard, again, I will say this a million times. I don't expect this guy to have 20 points every single night. But he's one of the only guys that I've seen in recent Syracuse history that is a 3-point specialist that can create for himself. He doesn't need to come off a screen. He doesn't need anybody to do anything. He can be dribbling in your face and create a shot. And his ability to lean back and kick out his leg and hit that off-balance 3 has been wonderful. I mean, that off-balance shot in general has been wonderful. So I give Joe a lot of credit where some people give him a lot of hate, and that needs to stop. Because without Joe, pretty confident Syracuse would have lost almost every single game this season. So Nick said he's put in the work. He has grown every year at Syracuse. Joe has had a fantastic year moving to his natural position. Yeah, I agree. And then Greg said Syracuse and coach has built up the program to a level not to just punt the last 2 seasons due and hang the excuse of the team is young and inexperienced. The thing is, though, the team is young and inexperienced. Now, does that mean that the zone is working? No. But, again, 7 new faces. I don't expect a ton. I don't expect this team to be an NCAA tournament team with 7 new faces. Benny having to move into a bigger role and really having Joe and Jesse back. And Cy not being the point guard. And Cy is the true point guard on the team. He told me when he came in, I'm not looking for my shot, I'm looking for everybody else's. So, I mean, this team was Cy, who didn't have a lot of time, Benny, who didn't have a lot of time, 7 new faces, Jesse and Joe. And John Boljack, who decided to leave the transfer portal and come back to the team. That's what this team has been this year. So I think people need to really reflect on that and say, yeah, you want to see the team improve. You want to be better at the end of the season than you are at the beginning of the season. I'm not going to argue that. The Georgia Tech game was an atrocious game. It was an awful game. That was a horrible, horrible game. The team was 4-14 in the ACC coming into the Dome, Georgia Tech. 4-14 in the ACC. They were 0-8 on the road in the ACC. Syracuse handed them their first road win in the ACC and only their 5th win in 19 tries this season in the ACC. So, not good. But this team is young, and that has to be talked about. And I agree with you, Greg. Cy gets very little minutes to prove himself. I've had an issue with that since he came to Syracuse. He deserves more time, in my opinion. Greg also said, Jesse never got his time his first 2 seasons. Edwards is a talented player and has shown promise these last 2 seasons. Yeah, he has. And like I said, I saw it probably a little bit over 2 years ago. I was excited about what he was going to bring to the table. Nick said, I've said since the beginning of the season, this freshman class was brought in to be a class that grew together. It wasn't a 1-year thing. The problem is will they stick together and build something special? It's hard to do in college nowadays. Don't forget this one. I'm interested in your take. So, no, man, and I appreciate it. I agree. And I said it. This entire team can come back next year. The entire team can come back next year. Because of the COVID year, this entire team can come back next year. So, let's reflect on that. Munir can come back. The 6 freshmen can come back. Benny can come back, obviously, because Benny will be a junior by normal schooling. So, obviously, Benny can come back. Munir will be a junior as well. Jesse and Joe are granted an extra year. Cy is granted an extra year, and then you got all the freshmen. So if these guys want to do it, they can strap up again and do it again. And why not? Right? I can understand if Cy goes because Cy doesn't get the time. So I can 1,000,000% understand if Cy goes. I'm sorry for everybody on MixLR. I had the audio down. I apologize for that. My truest apologies. I didn't even realize that was like that. So I can understand if Cy decides to leave. I can. I can understand if Jesse wants to play overseas. Feet to the fire, if I had to choose amongst those 3 guys who would come back, and this is just my opinion, this is not what they said to me, I would say Joe would come back. I think Joe Girard, if I put my feet to the fire right now, I would say Joe would come back. I would say then Jesse, then Cy, because I would totally understand if Cy left. Now, you heard what Cy said to me, though, in today's show. Nobody thought I could make it. Nobody thought I would be D1. Nobody thought, people probably didn't even think he would be at Syracuse. And he did all those, right? He made it. He made D1, and he's playing for his hometown. I would personally understand the decision for Cy to move on if he's not going to get to run an offense. I get that. And I think that him, and this is not to take away from Judah, I think Cy, as the point guard, would have ran a better offense because Judah can score, but Judah's not your traditional point guard. I think Cy would have made the offense flow and look better. And I think that he did that last season in the ACC tournament. So I think Cy running Syracuse's offense, the offense would have actually looked like maybe people would be, I don't know. I think that he would try to run an offense where people would be doing stuff. Where Judah has learned to be a better leader as time has gone on. I don't want to take anything away from Judah. This is nothing to Judah. This is me speaking specifically on Cy. I think Cy would have ran a better offense because Cy's a traditional point guard. But I also know that Judah cannot be left on your bench that long. Now, Greg said, based on how this team has played and is currently playing, I'm willing to place a healthy bet that this team is going to look much different next year. Well, like I said, I think if it was feet to the fire for me, Joe would come back. I don't know about Jesse. Cy, I would understand if he left. And with 6 freshmen, I could understand guys leaving. See, the thing about today's basketball is Quadir Copeland could go, you know what? I gave it a shot. I committed to Syracuse. Other people wanted me. I don't want to be here. I'm going to go to Pittsburgh because Pittsburgh kicked butt and they beat our butt. I can understand that. I can understand Justin Taylor saying, I can go play somewhere else, be a starter every game, and I'll get to take the majority of the shots. I won't have to share with Joe. I won't have to share with Judah. I can understand Malik Brown saying, I want more minutes. I did a better cleanup on the rim than arguably mostly anybody else on the team. I shouldn't be behind anybody, and I shouldn't have lost my starting job. I could see Benny saying, I've had my ups and downs. My shot's gotten better. I'm going to take my talent elsewhere. I can see that in today's basketball. Nick said, in a world without feelings, the perfect option this year would have been Cy and Judah starting and Joe as a 6th man, Dion Waiters type. Yeah, you know what? That makes sense. But the question is, how do you leave Joe off, right? How do you leave him off? So it's difficult. It's not an easy job to coach. And I do want to address something that has happened in the Dome more than once this season. And it's happened with young people in the Dome. Some people have made the decision to not only yell for the firing of Jim Boeheim, but have said things in such a way that is a despicable sign of humanity, or lack thereof. It was something said earlier on in the season and some stuff yesterday. I think there was a blank you old lady type of statement toward Jim Boeheim from a youth. And listen, is Jim Boeheim perfect? No, he's not God. It's an easy answer. Am I perfect? No. Are you perfect? No. I understand people's frustration with Jim's stubbornness to do certain things a certain way. Do I think that it is right to scream profanities, call him names, disrespect him, and publicly yell at him and say things that his wife and family hears? No, I don't think that that's right. We are entitled to our opinions on the game. You are not entitled by the statement, and this, some people think this, that freedom of speech means anything. Freedom of speech is the freedom to speak your mind. But there is an invisible notion and hope that when you utilize your freedom of speech, you will be respectful, and even when you disagree, you will act with compassion. Jim Boeheim has been a massive part of college basketball seemingly forever. I think that cavemen and dinosaurs were seeing Jim Boeheim back in the day. I feel like cavemen were writing, were etching with rocks on their walls the 2-3 zone. Because to me, to many of us, he's been in college basketball forever. This team and last year's team and the last couple years, this is now 4 years where Syracuse may not get to 20 wins in a row. Keep in mind there was a COVID year. And I'm not making excuses for Syracuse. They did have players that got sick, and Joe Girard, I think, was saying that for like a month after he still wasn't. I don't think he was right for a while in that COVID year after getting sick. Because of the world we live in today, this team could totally disband. But for argument's sake, Jesse, Benny, Judah, Justin, Joe, Malik, Cy, Quadir, Munir, all come back. 2 shot blockers. 4 guys that can run the point. Multiple shooters. Benny's getting better with his shot. Judah, Justin, Cy at times, and Joe. And the inside presence besides your centers and your shot blockers of Malik Brown, Benny. That's where you'd have to kind of do something. Because your 4 has got to give you more. Right? This team has a ton of guards and 2 blocking shot worthy centers. But they don't have a lot of power forward play. That I would consider the weakness if this whole team came back. Because Judah can run point, Quadir can run point, arguably, right? Because I think he came in as a point guard. So you got Quadir, you got Judah, you have Joe who's done it, and you have Cy. You got 2 big men, like I said, in Jesse and Munir. And so when you look inside, it's okay. Malik, Benny, what are we going to get out of that? But this entire team, realistically, can come back for another year. And if they do, if they can shore up some things at the 4, this is an NCAA tournament team. Based on the experience and based on what they've been through. And with a little bit of open-mindedness, I would say. Wouldn't hurt. Greg said, we can all admit that the 18 and 14 team got some key wins and got hot at the perfect time. Was it a great all-around team? Absolutely not. No, they're not great, But I don't expect them to be great when most of them are coming to Syracuse for the first time and 6 of them are playing college basketball for the first time. Are we all under the assumption Chris Bell is transferring out? Replace him with a power forward transfer. Yeah, I mean, and that's another note that I didn't get to yet. And then Greg said, Judah is an absolute talent. To assume he is sticking around, we can only hope. Well, Judah is one of those guys that I feel like some NBA scout or agent or whoever will say something. You know, hey, man, I think you can make it. You know, because whoever's been talking to these guys over the years, Malachi needed more time. Tyler Lydon needed more time. Tyler Ennis needed more time. You know, Wesley Johnson made some hay, but I think he needed more time. Arguably, the majority of the guys that left early needed more time. And I'm not disrespecting their talent. I'm just saying I think they would have been a lot better prepared for the NBA with more time. And I believe Jim Boeheim's agreed with me on that notion too, at least once, if not more. So let's get back to the Chris Bell thing. It's going to be the final note that I make in this conversation. Chris Bell, at the beginning of the season, it confused me. Because typically, as a true freshman, if you make a mistake, you come out. Quadir, remember? He made a mistake at the game. He took a long three. It was way off, and then Boeheim was like, all right, get the hell out of here. You know, say, all right, come on. Let's go. Let's get you out of here. So, you know, that's how he typically is with true freshmen. What confused me at the beginning of the season is that Chris Bell, as a starter, was shooting like the ball was on fire. As soon as it hit his hands, he threw it toward the basket. It didn't matter how much time was on the clock, shot clock, game clock. It didn't matter if Syracuse was winning or losing. They could be up 10-2, down 10-2. Chris Bell shot almost every single time the ball touched his hands. Like, I would say in the beginning of the season, 90-something% of the time, as soon as he touched the ball, he shot it. It was immediate. Gotta shoot, gotta shoot, gotta shoot, gotta shoot, gotta shoot. We didn't see him do anything else predominantly than shoot. And this is not a witch hunt because we don't do that on the show. I'm telling you what I saw. I saw a true freshman starting, shooting whenever he wanted to, like he had the green light that Buddy had, or like he had the green light that Joe had, or like he has the green light that Judah has, to an extent. And I was surprised that Boeheim put him in the starting lineup, kept him in the starting lineup. Not that he put him there, but that he kept him in the starting lineup after he saw him kind of do whatever he wanted. And then he kept saying early on in the season, he's not rebounding. He's not rebounding. You can't do that. You can't be on this team and not rebound. You're not going to get out there if you're not rebounding. And it was like he was telling Chris at the beginning of the season, I'm saying exactly what's going to put you on the bench. And then it didn't happen. And Jim put him on the bench. It was like, you need to rebound, and then Chris wasn't rebounding, and then he put him on the bench. And now he is in the proverbial doghouse, seemingly, at Syracuse. So, do I think Chris Bell can shoot? Yeah. Do I want him to shoot as quickly as he does and not let a play develop? Absolutely not. Would I have taken him out, sat him down, and said, bro, you can't do this, okay? You cannot shoot every time you touch the ball. This is not you versus 5, okay? We gotta play this game as a team. So at the beginning of the season, I was shocked that Boeheim wasn't putting him on the bench to teach him a lesson, but Boeheim was saying he's not rebounding. How do you play in a game? How do you play this many minutes, have 0 rebounds? And apparently what Boeheim was doing was saying to him, you're not going to play if you do this, but then he was still playing. And I was looking at it like, you want him to rebound, he's not rebounding. Are you really liking that he's shooting this much? But you're still playing him, so do you even care? And essentially, from what I take from it, hindsight 2020, is that he was playing him while telling him why he wasn't going to play. And when Chris didn't do the things he needed to do, Jim kept his word and took him off the floor. Now, to play him in 0 minutes yesterday, that's a doghouse. But we'll see. You know, maybe he's already made up his decision. Maybe he said to Bay, I'm out. And Bay said, all right, well, if you're not going to be on this team, then don't be on this team. I don't know that. That's between him and Bay. So maybe the deal is done. Or Maybe Chris is going to learn from this like Benny has. We'll see. We know that Jim Boeheim has tough love, and he has no problem talking about his team personally to the media. He protects his players, but he also calls them out. What's going to happen from here with Chris Bell? I guess that's up to Chris Bell. We'll take a step aside for a fast break and wrap up the show right after this.
Cafe Kubal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafekubal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Kubal needs. Cafe Kubal, coffee for the soul.
This is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating. Find them at 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and all the time online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond. You can order all throughout the country at maandpaspopcorn.com. And remember to get your tins, which have in-store half-price refills forever. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, available to you for fundraising and all of your events by calling 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
Witty Wicks Candles and Gift Shop, Township 5 Camillus, where you will find handcrafted all-natural soy wax candles over 60 cents to freshen up your home. We carry a wide range of locally made items, Salsa Q's, Syracuse Salt, and Chocolate Pizza Company, to name a few. Let our knowledgeable staff help choose unique gifts and keepsakes for any occasion. Gifts for family and friends, and maybe a little something for yourself. Witty Wicks Candles and Gift Shop, Township 5 Camillus.
This is a special message from Merritt Brady, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Watertown on 1290 Arsenal Street in Watertown, New York.
Chick-fil-A for me has always been about the people. I think it starts with the strength and leadership of the Cathy family. It's just amazing to see a family-run business reach the altitude that they have. Second mile service is something that we embodied at my previous business, and the ability to make people feel like they're the only person at your establishment, that you are there to serve them that day and looking for those extra ways to make them happy, to anticipate what they need next is what makes me tick. And I'm going to have so many opportunities at Chick-fil-A to do that. It's one of my favorite things to eat in the world. My favorite application question or interview question when I'm interviewing is when I get to, have you ever eaten at Chick-fil-A? And a smile hits both their ears. You know, they can't even answer the question for a second. And when I see that, it's like, man, that's going to be a great hire. They already get it. They already feel it. They already know that we're different. The Chick-fil-A experience, it's a real thing. And then, of course, just our generosity and community involvement and making a positive impact in the lives of our team members, our guests, and the community in general, I think is really the secret sauce.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, hanging out with you where sports truly.
Being one of the veterans on this team,
happy to be here with you,
losing streak.
and thank you so much for being a part of the show here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of these Cafe Kubal Studios. Cafe Kubal on 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 401 South Salina Street, all in Syracuse. You can also find them on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York, and on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in their drive-through location in North Syracuse. So, with that being said, a point that was brought up here, a final note, Nick said Chris's best game of the season was against North Carolina, rebounded and shot with confidence. Going back to that game against North Carolina, the 72-68 loss at home, he went 6 for 9, 3 of 5 from 3-point. He ended the game with 15 points and 4 rebounds in the game. Now, taking a look at Chris Bell over his time at Syracuse. Now, the first couple games, he didn't play as much, but the Richmond game, 34 minutes, then 35 against St. John's, then 28 against Bryant, 27 against Illinois, 10 against Notre Dame, 12 against Oakland, 22 against Georgetown, then 12 again against Monmouth, 28 against Cornell, and then he played under 20 minutes for 5 straight games. Pitt, BC, Louisville, Virginia Tech, 34 minutes against Notre Dame when they played him again, this time at home. Then he had 19 minutes against Miami, 18 against Georgia Tech out on the road, those 2 road games, 36 against North Carolina of the 40 minutes. Then he played 10, 9, 11, 34, 34, 11, 19, 0 in the most. We didn't see him against Pitt, and we didn't see him in the game against Georgia Tech. So if you look back on it, there's multiple times. It's almost like Boeheim was like, all right, let's see what you got. Okay, down. Let's see what you got. Okay, down. Let's see if you're doing it. Okay, down. Are you doing what I asked you? Okay, down. And now, in these last few games, we have seen in 5 of 7 games him playing 19 minutes or less. And then you tack on the last 2, 0 minutes. So in 7 of the last 9 games, he's played 19 minutes or less. 2 of those games, not at all. So, what Boeheim said at the beginning of the season of, how can you play college basketball and not get a rebound? Well, apparently he was trying to say something publicly to get through to Chris. Maybe it wasn't getting through to him away from the mic, and maybe he was trying something else. He had 3 rebounds against Clemson, none against Duke, 3 against NC State, 6 against Florida State, 2 against BC, 1 against Virginia, 0 against Virginia Tech, 4 against North Carolina, 0 against Georgia Tech when they were on the road against them, 1 against Miami on the road, 3 against Notre Dame, 2 against Virginia Tech, at Virginia 0, 3 against Louisville, 2 against BC, 1 against Pitt at home, 5 against Cornell, 0 against Monmouth, 3 against Georgetown, 1 against Oakland, 2 against Notre Dame on the road, 1 against Illinois on the road, 1 against Bryant at home in that loss, 0 against St. John's in 35 minutes, 1 against Richmond. You think about it, you break it down. So 48 rebounds on the season total. And you take 4 double-digit rebounding games, 5 double-digit rebounding games. So, you look at that and say, well, that could be handled in 5 games. So, to me, I think the writing's on the wall. In 28 games, he had 48 rebounds. And Boeheim said more than once, he needs to get rebounds. And Boeheim said, we need to get something more out of our 4 position. The power forward. So you're talking about Bell's position. You're talking about Bell specifically. He's not getting rebounds. He's not on the floor. Because I know people are asking, where is he? Benny was off for a couple games, came back, and is playing better than he's ever played college basketball. Maybe that's the hope for Chris. Maybe Chris is already done. Maybe we'll see him against Wake Forest. Maybe we'll see him in the ACC tournament. We shall see. The tough love from Boeheim sometimes works and sometimes doesn't. Boeheim asked for something at the beginning of the year and he didn't get it. And he asked multiple times publicly. And I don't think he's the type of guy that's going to keep asking the same question. because he doesn't like when people do that. With that being said, on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, we appreciate you being here live with us every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on mixlr.com, facebook.com, and youtube.com, all /WakeUpCallDT on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage where the live feed is embedded for MixLR. And, of course, you can also find us by going to facebook.com /LiveNowDT. Once the shows go live, we put them in our archives, and you have the opportunity to watch and listen to our shows on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, as well as MixLR, Spotify, Stitcher, Player FM, Podbean, Podvine, TuneIn, and YouTube, as well as others, by simply searching Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. A big thanks to all of our incredible partners in Central and Upstate New York. We appreciate you so very much. I want to give a special thanks to Cafe Kubal and Matt Godard for joining the show today, the owner-operator, and the new menu that is now available. Bringing back my favorite upstate grinder sandwich and so much more. Every location, chefs getting it ready, making it fresh, sending it out to all of these locations. Today, March 1st, is a new chapter in the amazing history of Cafe Kubal, and I want you to be a part of it. I'm going to go to Cafe Kubal, put my money where my mouth is, and be a part of this new menu. I hope you will too. So make sure you head out to all of their locations in Central and Upstate New York. Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Witty Wicks, Avicoli's, PB&J's Lunchbox, Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Chick-fil-A Watertown, Great Lakes Honda City, Chick-fil-A Cicero, and Chick-fil-A Clay, Pizza Man, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Mother's Cupboard, and 317 at Montgomery. The name of the location is the name of the restaurant, 317 Montgomery Street in downtown Syracuse, for 317 at Montgomery Street Restaurant. And today starts off a very unique way to eat in Syracuse, and you can go to 317 at Montgomery and find out how. We're also proud to be the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your LeMoyne College Dolphins. It is Fins Up every single month on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. And, of course, Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Set it and keep it every single week. The Dolphins have had a spotlight on them unlike any other time that you have seen your Dolphins, where every week they have coverage. And AD&DT comes to you the first Wednesday and third Wednesday of each month at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, like today, featuring Athletics Director Bob Beretta and myself, Dan Tortora, every second and fourth Wednesday. And bonus coverage of Dolphin Dive comes to you second and fourth Wednesday of each month at 9 a.m., plus our bonus editions like we've done with Adam Sikowski to start off the week. Those are with the Dolphins head coaches, as well as coaching staffs in general, student athletes, administration, future Dolphins, and alumni. You can check out all of our Dolphin content by going to the LeMoyne tab on wakeupcalldt.com. That has just been updated. So many more specials have been added there, so you can go and see our entire library as it continues to grow. And you can subscribe to YouTube by going to @WakeUpCallDT on YouTube, clicking subscribe, and you'll get all of our Dolphin content there. Go out and see the Dolphins today, Wednesday, March 1st at 4 p.m. The LeMoyne women's lacrosse team will have their first home game of the season, coming off of their only game that they played in, which was a victory on the road against a top 11 nationally ranked Mercy College team. And they will be here today, and there's a bunch of local student athletes on the team, which I'm really excited about. And big shout out to them and to everybody on the team as the LeMoyne women's lacrosse team bands together to look to win their first home game of the season today at 4 p.m. For more information on your Dolphins, go to LeMoyneDolphins.com. The Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You can check out the Bobcat Buzz all throughout each month, and we are more than happy to bring you the coverage of your Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse. And I am so happy that we got to do that with Sean Peake coming off of the weekend, an inaugural historical weekend, playing the first ever games in Bryan and Stratton baseball history for the Syracuse campus. And big thanks to Sean Peake for his time as always. Our student athletes and coaches join us every single month on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You can catch our Bobcat Buzz specials by tuning into our social media to find out when they're coming up next. And of course, you can go to our BSC Syracuse tab on wakeupcalldt.com, just updated to have all of our specials with the Bobcats and more to come. And of course, you could subscribe to YouTube our channel there at Wake Up Call DT, or just go to youtube.com/Wake Up Call DT and pick up all of our Bobcat Buzz content. For more information on your Bobcats, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com. With that being said, I want to thank Bob Beretta for joining me to speak on Giving Day. You can now watch this video on youtube.com/Wake Up Call DT. It'll be shared on Twitter at Call DT. It's available as its own special on Facebook right now on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT. And of course, it's available on Instagram at wakeupcall_DT. So you can see that conversation on Giving Day and the importance of it. Giving Day is this Thursday, March 2nd. For 24 hours, you can give to LeMoyne in a very special way. Last year, you helped them hit $1 million and over 1,000 donors. We're looking to break those records this year, and I look forward to you donating whatever you can, be it $1, $1,000, whatever it may be. Make sure you donate to the LeMoyne College Dolphins and LeMoyne College in general. We thank you for every donation that has come from this beautiful, beautiful Finn family and beyond. So thank you for that. You can watch the special with Bob to get more information and to share it with others. Now available on all of our channels: Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, Twitter at Call DT, Instagram at wakeupcall_DT, and on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Big thanks to Matt Godard, the owner-operator of Cafe Kubal, for joining us today to speak on a new chapter and a very awesome opportunity for them to get back to who they are and what they want to be. COVID affected all of us in some way, shape, or form, and the last couple of years have been difficult, especially when it comes to food and beverage. And Matt Godard and his team are so happy to be able to not have any restrictions on them, to be share creators and to bring you beautiful, beautiful menu items, be it a drink or something to eat. You can go to all of their locations today and celebrate Cafe Kubal being Cafe Kubal, which is awesome and amazing locally here and beyond. Big thanks to Fred Kent and a big ups to his West Genesee Wildcats, who will be playing in the championship game for the Section 3 Class AA high school basketball this weekend, Sunday, March 5th, 7 p.m. OCC up against Liverpool Warriors. Excited to go and see Fred Kent and his team tip off with Ryan Blackwell and his team. And a big thanks to the Syracuse Orange. Always a big thanks to Syracuse for all the players and all the coaches that have joined me. I appreciate them so very much. And of course, for this show, Symir Torrence and Justin Taylor, I want to thank them for their time, and also off the air conversations I got to have with the great staff and student athletes at Syracuse. Much love to all of you, and thank you for joining me with the Syracuse Conversation. I hope you join us tomorrow with a fantastic show set up for you. 1 hour Brendan Murphy, 1 hour Papa Joe. Great conversation throughout, and a lot of awesome topics to come. Thank you so much, and as always, God bless. No stress. Do your best. We'll talk soon.